Hello everyone, welcome to our live software presentation of EPLAN Cogineer. So I'm very honored and happy to show you today our latest and new software solution, EPLAN Cogineer. First of all, I want to start with an important remark. If you have any question during the session, no problem at all. We are looking forward for your feedback. You have on top, you have a bar with a chat button. So you can click on the chat and then just insert your question in the chat screen, or if you have not full screen beside, you see the chat screen. So if you have some questions, no problem at all, put them in. And after the presentation, we will have some time to answer your questions directly. So if you have any question at all, do not hesitate to ask us, no problem at all. So let's first start with a small introduction of EPLAN Cogineer. So I hope, or we hope, that everybody will recognize the daily business. We're just having projects, doing some projects, one after the other, and we do a lot of time copy-paste. So we will search through a project to have, where did we use this device? I will open the project, copy it from there, and copy it and paste it, and also in the new project. So this means we reuse a lot of times data, but it's on a classical way. It's not really in the intelligent way. So the reuse of macros, of building blocks, is not that high. So each time we will lose a lot of time to make sure we have the right data and the right components. With EPLAN Cogineer, we will show you today that this is much easier. So we will make sure that it's much more efficient to reuse your classical data, your standard solutions, your approved solutions. It will be much easier to reuse this data. And we will also talk about the automation we can handle with EPLAN Cogineer. So we will make sure that we will reuse this data in an intelligent way, and we can also automate the design, so we will lose less time, so we will win a lot of time to do some individual or even high-end engineering procedures or high-end engineering projects. So this is as a small introduction, so let's make it a little bit more clear, and let's go to our software. So I will switch to EPLAN Electric P8. In this case, what we will show today is EPLAN Cogineer, and EPLAN Cogineer is integrated into our EPLAN platform. So this means this is a solution which you can use in EPLAN Electric P8, EPLAN Fluid, and also Propel Professional. So you see here in my EPLAN environment, you will see a library which contains a lot of macros. We will use the macros in generation procedure, and we also have a project what we will use to generate our schematics in. If we see the functionalities of EPLAN Cogineer, it's very easy to use. Under Utilities, we will see a new menu point Cogineer, and we will have two menu points in this menu, like the Designer and Project Builder. So let's discuss first the Project Builder. So I will explain you during our demonstration. So let's start with the Project Builder. What's the meaning of our Project Builder? Our Project Builder is actually our configurator, which is very easy to use. So if you want to do some configurations, or if you want to generate projects, you can do it via this configurator. Later on, I will show you what's behind all these configurations. But first, let's start with easygoing. This was also a main reason how we developed EPLAN Cogineer. It has to be very easy to use, and you will see it is very easy to use. So we need to select a target project, and we will choose our Cogineer project. You will see it's completely empty. So what can you do with Cogineer today? You can see here our configurators. And let's start with a machine configurator. Here we can see we have, for example, we have two examples which we implemented in our demonstration. We have some machines which we can generate on different ways. So I hope you will recognize one of the two where you're in. So imagine you have a machine with some basic options. So for instance, you have a standard machine and you have the possibility to offer two different options. In case your customer needs, for instance, the standard machine, I will check the standard machine. You also see there is an asterisk behind. So this means this is a mandatory field. We will show you later on that it's very easy how we can say this field is mandatory or not. So let's have a look if we check the standard machine and we will generate this configuration. Just by a simple click on the button, you will see that our schematic is easily created in our project. So let's have a look to the full project and we will see we have a complete project which represents actually our standard machine. So you see some different grinding units, you will see also some PLC cards, some spare PLC cards and so on. So we have a complete machine generated by a push of a button. If your customer wants to have, for instance, an option, it's very easy to do now because you can say, okay, my customer needs now option 1 and that's transport function 2. I regenerate my project and with again the same simple click of a button we have the new project. And then you will see here in our page we will have additionally a transport system. You can see it here, transport option 1. Not only in this particular document type we have an additional part, but we will also here see in our PLC that of course we also have some additional inputs and it might also happen that we have some additional outputs. So this means we can generate over different pages to make sure that our option is in the machine. Of course, if we say, okay, our customer needs the full option, he needs also option 1 and option 2, we can again regenerate the project and we will see that also option 2 will be added in this project. So here we will see option 2 which is available, and also if we look to the inputs we see a second one who's here, option 2, and also we will see in our outputs that we'll also have option 2. So this is very easy to use. We will show you later on what's behind, but we can see that it's very easy to use. This is a way how you can implement our EPLAN Cogineer. Of course, you can also do it in a different way. So let's have a look into another way of generating schematics in a more functional approach. So this is very easy to use if you have a project or a complete project where you can say, okay, I reuse this project, I create a macro library from it, and let's just generate the macros. For those who are already in a functional approach, it's also very easy to use. It's just how you implement the solution. So let's have a look now to a grinding machine with a more functional approach. If we open this functional approach, you will see that we will have much more options. So we will be able to say, okay, in our standard machine here, we don't need, for instance, the grinding 1. So we say, okay, we don't want to have the grinding transport function, we don't want to have the left, and we don't want to have the right one. Just by easy configuration we do here, we can say generate schematic, and then again with this simple click of a button he will generate the schematics. After the generation we will see that not only the machine overview, which is here, is generated, but also the complete functions which we asked for, they are generated. On top of our schematics and also the overview, we can also generate 2D layout, and we can see here that also our cabinet is designed and generated by EPLAN Cogineer. Just an important remark, we see here some spaces. This means this might be filled up with other options. So let's do this again. I will clear my project to clearly see the difference. So I'll remove all pages and I do the same procedure again. So we will say in this case, okay, we need grinding transport 1 and also the left one and the right one. We just enable it, regenerate our schematic, and then we will see that of course additional functions will be added. Also in our overview there will be an additional placement of the grinding, but also our mounting panel will be added. So here we will see now the full machine with the different functions we are asked for. Also the schematics, but also here in our case we will also be able to now fill a complete cabinet. So we will see here the different modules which also now are included in our panel. So this is actually a very nice example we can show you how you can build machines or machine configurators. Of course, these generators, they have a lot of information, and you can also say, okay, do I need these kind of configurators? If you can use it, sure, why not? But you can also use some multi-mini configurators. So you can also say, okay, let's do just some mini configurators. And this is also very easy to use, and I will show you later on, we can build them in just a few clicks. So imagine this example. We have a multi-drive generation. Imagine you, as a system integrator, you want to generate or you want to store knowledge in our systems to say, okay, I want to have a drive. And this drive is, for instance, a drive which is doing transport. I have the selection to choose a function name. I can also say, okay, I want to store it in location 01. And which is the type I want to use. In this case, I want to have a direct motor control with the power of this selection. Let's use this one. And we make the connection via terminals. I can also enter if I want my motor name. So let's say it's M1, and we put the motor in a different location. So we put it into 010. With an easy click on the button, you can just generate, and we will see that one page now is created. So this is easy, stored in the system now, and we can configure this motor at just a few clicks of a button. Imagine you say now, okay, we need a different function, not a direct one, but a soft starter one. And we also want to have a bigger load, and we want to have it on plugs. All this knowledge, what's behind this, I don't have to take care. It's very easy to use. I just click the generate, and then you will see that we will have a second page. So if you're not able to create a fully machine configurator, if you say, okay, this is much more variable, you can also have a mini configurator that just generates this type of schematics. Imagine, even if you say, okay, I need the drive one with, again, a different load, again, terminals. It's very easy to do because here, again, with the same click, and now we will see that we use, of course, like we asked, we use a drive in this case. So also, if you don't have full complete machine configurators, it's very easy to use, and you can just subsequently generate schematics with just the same click and press on a button. For instance, we also have good news for manufacturers of components. Imagine, I'm going to clear the project to see the difference. Imagine we have different valve types or even valve islands. We can say, okay, I want to have a 3-2 valve open without control. In this case, we use a Festo configurator or manufacturer, but we can also add different ones. In this example, we only have this one. So if we say generate configuration, we will see here, we will have a page generated with this one. Like we told you in the beginning, it's also possible to generate fluid diagrams with this. Imagine you say, okay, I have a more complex one, a valve air controlled with electric control. It's also regenerating here, and now we have a different example with a fully valve here like we asked for. So it's also very easy to use this in manufacturer components to generate these schematics. In our examples, we also have a very nice one for the PLC. Imagine you have to do a lot of times PLC configurations. It always starts with a PLC rack. You ask for a specific function, let's call it A3. We put it into location 01, and we are using CPU 1. This is always very variable because sometimes you need 2 input cards, the other ones you need 3 input cards. So we can just easy configure here to say, okay, I want this time 3 input cards and I want 3 or 4 output cards. Now we have a very easy selection, but you can also expand the selection with different manufacturers. Imagine you can say this is Siemens, this is Rockwell, this is whatever type of PLC manufacturer you can build in, because the configurator, you can build it to your own standards. So let's use this as an example and say just click generate this function. And now you will see a page which is appearing with a complete rack overview. So imagine how much time you can save by doing this generation, because now we also have the part in our project. We can drag in or drag out the IOs we already have in our device navigator. So it's so much easier to work with this generation because you will save a lot of time. There is no need anymore to go to a different project to copy this input card and paste it here, because it's here. It's all in our automation tool. Imagine you say now in this case, okay, I made a mistake, I need 3 input cards. Then with an easy just regenerate click, we can just generate it again, and now we will have an input card more, and we replace it by an input. So it's very easy to use. But of course we also have some good news, because now we have just generated some easy parts going on, but we also have a much more complex example. Imagine power calculation. And this is really a very nice example what Cogineer can handle for us. Imagine we have 3 fuses. We have feeder 1, feeder 2 and feeder 3. And our engineer has the possibility to say, okay, I need 2 amps, and all over the 3 fuses we need 2 amps. We can generate this one, very easy going, no problem. We have 2 pages with the supply, and we also have 3 fuses in this case. Like we asked, 2 amps, 2 amps, 2 amps. Of course, the difficulty, and especially to new engineers or engineers who just joined the company for a different industry, for instance, we see, okay, we can do this with a supply of 6.5 amps. Of course, very easy going. But what will happen if we now say we need a 4, 4 and 10? Which supply do we need? This is most of the time difficult for new engineers or difficult for people to keep in mind. So, and this is all stored into our system. And we will show you the results, because if we use a different configuration here, we will have our configuration like we asked 4, 4, 10. But more important, if we go to the first page where the supply is located, we will also see that we have a different supply. So by selecting and by calculating these fuses, we will also take another supply in this case. And this example I will show you in the background what's happening with our Cogineer. So what we have seen now is our project builder. So this means this is just an easy ongoing configurator generator to use by all engineers, or by also the senior engineer, to say, okay, this is available for all the people or even the ones who want to configure or generate schematics. Let's also see what's behind this. So we have the second menu point, and that's our designer. Or you can also link it with the toolbar button, it's no problem. So let's click on the toolbar button. And here you will see the background of Cogineer. So first of all, if we want to use a configurator, we have to build a configurator. And we can just quickly say, okay, this is a virtual fair configurator, and we can just create it. And then we can use typicals or even typical groups to drag in elements we want to generate. And you see it's very easy. I can just say it's a different sequence, so I can just drag in the functions I want to have. So in this case, let's just examine our last example we showed you. It's our configurator. So here we have our configurator, and you will see we are using the example 600 power calculation. So to make it very easy, we named the functions also in our library. So let's have a look in our library. And there we can see we have 2 pages in our library, or even 3, with just the supply, the first supply, the second one, and also the 3 fuses. So this is linked. So let's have a look into our macro typical here, which is directly linked to this macro, of course. And we will see here that, in fact, like we showed you, we have 3 selection lists of feeder 1, feeder 2 and feeder 3. And remember, we could choose 2, 4 and 10 amps. Where is it stored? Very easy. Here, there is 2, 4, 10. You can even delete those or say, okay, I want an additional option. So here we can make actually the interface, and we don't have to do more than this just to say it's a number. This is a text what we want to see in our configurator. And we can say, okay, we need to select this or we need to fill this in. And these are just 3 variables we will use in our calculation example. Then it's very easy to say, okay, we have a macro here and we can add this macro in our element here. So you will see this macro is added and is always active. So this means this is a basic page we use and it will be always generated. In the case of our supply, it's also very important and this is also active. So this means this is always generated. But now we see here 4 scenarios. And what's the meaning behind those 4 scenarios? So let's first have a look to our macro and let's see here. And this macro has a placeholder, like you perhaps know. And in this placeholder, the placeholder has a name. This is the name of it. And we can control the different value sets in this placeholder. So we can say in this macro, which is controlling the supply, we can have here the summation of the 3 variables. So we can say, okay, if V1 plus V2 plus V3 is lower or equal than 6, we will generate our macro with the selection of 6.5 amps. But in case we are between 6 and 10, what will happen? Between 6 and 10, this condition is active, and when this condition is active, this macro will be generated into our schematic with this value. And then we can create as much scenarios as we want. If we say, okay, if it's between 10 and 20, we will use 20 amps. And even if it's above 20, so imagine that we select some values that the sum of those values is above 20, then we can easily just say here, this is over 20. So this is a little bit in the background what's happening. I hope you can see this is very easy and we can just select the macros and we can just add them into macro typicals. And then we also have another level which we will have here our grinding machine. And this is in a typical group, so we can also store macro typicals in a typical group. So this is just a level in between our configurator and to our macro typical. So that's actually what we wanted to show with Cogineer. So we hope we showed you a very easy and simple configuration and automation tool to make sure that the knowledge and our copy paste is much more easier and we can reuse much more data, and we can of course do our engineering more efficient. And that's actually the state of EPLAN. We're standing for efficient engineering. So we want to thank you very much for your information, for your attention. If you have some questions, we will have a look now to the questions. First question we see, is this a new version for projects, options or pre-planning? No, very good question. EPLAN Cogineer is a completely new product. So this is a new product which is not in a replacement or a successor of any products. This is really a new product which is launched by EPLAN. Next question, is it possible to download this demo? The virtual fair stays online for 30 days, so if you want to review this demo or if you want to have some information, ask us. And the virtual fair is opening for 30 days, so you can review the demo, it's not a problem. Next question, how can it be compared to EEC, EEC1? At the moment, Cogineer, as I said, is a new product, and there is no relation to EEC and EEC1. And it's nor a successor for EEC and EEC1. At the moment, as we can see, Cogineer can generate P8 and fluid schematics. EEC1, it can generate Pro Panel at the moment. Cogineer will also come with next versions, and also generation of Pro Panel will be available in the future, but it's not a successor or a replacement for EEC or EEC1. Can we see the macro project later? Yes, I can show you the macro project again. So also in our Cogineer we will have this macro project normally available. This is well prepared, so if you have questions you can always also later on go into the chat with me. So if you have specific questions to the library, please ask me or send me an email. I will show you my contact details later on. Next question, PLC configuration is very nice. Can we do this with schematic view? Yes, of course. This is now just an overview, but you can also do this with schematics. It's no problem. It's just how you implement and how you fill the typicals like you want. Is it possible to get a video of this demo? Yes, sure, why not? Please contact me and then we can make sure that this is available and also online. That's no problem. This WebEx is recorded and this is also online for the next upcoming 30 days. Is it possible to have documentation? When you start with Cogineer, there is also a help included, and the help is also online. And if you need more information, please contact us. It's no problem. Will it be available in EPLAN 2.5? No. At the moment, it's created from version 2.6. Do I need a base project for the macros? No, you just need a library, and this library is actually a macro project. And you have to have a macro project to start. But very easy. If you have, this I can show you very quick. If you have a project which consists of all your machine functions, you can just go to the properties and just change here at your project to say, okay, this is a macro project. From that point on, you can just start and go specify your macros and later on. How is the surface for EPLAN generated? The interface is generated automatically. So we just need to fill in, we just need to give it a name, we just need to say, okay, this is a new parameter. These options are all stored in the software and the interface is automatically generated by EPLAN. Okay, if you have more questions, please contact us. We are still available in our virtual fair, or you can also send me an email, which is here stated, mrules@eplan.be, or just give us a chat and then we will answer your questions. Thank you very much for your attention. It was a very pleasure to show you Cogineer, and enjoy our virtual fair for the next coming hours. Thank you very much.